If you're looking to purchase or refinance a home, First Commerce Financial is a pure mortgage broker that works with several lenders to secure the best possible rate for you. Their mission is to provide transparent mortgage solutions to help you grow your overall net worth. That means you get a great deal on your home loan and receive 5-star level service along the way. They eliminate the junk fees associated with most mortgages, and they will also waive the appraisal fee for qualified borrowers if you mention you heard them here on Warchant. First Commerce Financial invites you to call 248-207-2404 or visit firstcommercefinancial.com. Licensed in Florida, Michigan, Arizona, and California. Welcome into the Warchant.com report presented by our friends at First Commerce Financial. Look at this, Corey Clark's in the house today, everybody. Nice, nice. Obviously, Gene is as well, and I'm Jeff. Thanks for watching. Florida State, another game, another loss. This time on the road to Virginia. We'll get to that and the upcoming game in a moment. First of all, speaking of which, 3:30 on ESPN. Noles welcoming Louisville to town. I feel like we're going to win this game, boys. Look at that.
Really?
I skipped
Don't
way
give it away.
ahead. I skipped way ahead. I want to start the show with confidence.
Some
I want to
positivity,
engender
too.
some confidence
All right.
here as we get rolling. Narrow loss. We're used to it. Florida State falls in a very winnable game, and obviously fourth quarter collapse will hurt your feelings when you give up 3 touchdowns after playing pretty decent defense for Florida State for much of the football game. But in the end, they couldn't get stops when they needed. They didn't play real smart, and they looked completely disorganized with an opportunity to win the game. So once again, that's all the kind of things that lead to a loss. Gene, have we seen improvement from where we were, I guess, at the start of the year, tangible improvement to where we were on Saturday night?
Oh yeah, I think so. You get caught up looking at the losses, and you're 1-2, really, maybe all intents and purposes, almost 0-3. You probably should have lost the Louisiana Monroe game. But I mean, look at the offense. You brought it up earlier. I mean, there's no doubt there's significant improvement there. I was curious before we got here, went back and looked at the numbers. They've been averaging a little over 33 points a game this year. Last year was 21 points a game. You want to break it down even further to halves? They're averaging 23 points in the first halves this season, 10 points last year. That's almost 2 touchdowns better. That's a huge improvement. It's kind of getting lost in the shuffle, I think, because they've been blowing games, but the offense has played dramatically better. Special teams are definitely better.
Yeah.
And, hey, hats off to the 2 walk-on kickers, man. They've looked great so far. They've done real well there.
I'm in love with our new punter.
And I'm gonna throw out the one positive. I do see one on defense. There is one positive. They are forcing more turnovers this year. They're averaging 2 turnovers a game. That they're actually picking up those loose fumbles this year. Last year they were under 1 turnover a game last year. So you're over 1+ turnovers a game. Most games in a close game, that can make a huge difference, getting an extra turnover a game. Not so far here. They've blown some games, but I think there's some very tangible improvements really across the board. Obviously more on offense than anywhere else.
Well, and that leads me to you. Other side of the coin here. Let's take a look at it. Is there any hope for this defense to improve? Do you see anything right now, Corey, that you say, okay, they can hang their hat on that. That will travel. That will continue to get better. Anything that we could, I guess, believe in?
I mean, you know the answer to that.
I know.
No,
We're doing a show here, though.
Just move on. Next question. No, I haven't. You know, the first, 2.5 quarters against Virginia, I did like what they did up front. They kind of dominated the line of scrimmage, I thought, defensively up front. We knew those 3 guys, or we expected them to be very good players this year. 21, Marvin Wilson has been very good the whole year. The other 2 guys had good games. Other than that, that back 7, that back 8, whatever you want, however you want to phrase it.
Anybody not name those 3 guys
right.
up front?
It's been a bit of a disaster. And what happened in that game is the last 3 drives, just touchdown, 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 because you could not stop. Virginia, you knew what Virginia was going to try to do. They're going to run a 6-yard out and turn around, or a 6-yard stop and turn around. And your zone is so soft, so incredibly soft. Pillsbury Doughboy soft.
Softest we've ever seen.
It's softest that's ever been recorded in recorded history.
Played in football.
I mean, it's not even a zone. It's more like just a.
It's like
a capitulation.
Yeah. You're acquiescing to their needs.
Right. It's a capitulation zone.
It's not always a good thing for defense.
Yeah.
We're just going to acquiesce. Here's 7.
So that's what I worry about. If they don't believe in their DBs and linebackers enough to play any sort of man for any amount of time, then we're just going to see more of this. I did like that they stopped the rushing. They did bow up on the running game. They stopped Virginia's rushing attack. That is something to build on, maybe. But if it's still that easy, like Willie said yesterday in the press, or sorry, on Monday in the press conference, that he liked that they made them one-dimensional. They became a passing team. But if the one dimension is so easy to convert, it doesn't really matter. So no, I don't see a ton of hope for the future necessarily with this defense. You just got to hope they're okay. Not horrid.
The hope is
Just
Jim
okay.
Leavitt becomes the new defensive coordinator soon. The other part of that is that Virginia's offensive line is not good. So I'd be careful about how much dominance we think we're going to see moving forward from the defensive line, which was better, but Virginia's offensive line is a weakness for them.
Did you think they looked better, though, in the first 2.5 quarters as well? The way they tackled, the way they
tackled
ran
better.
to the ball?
They had more confidence in what
I
they
saw
were
a couple
doing.
ends keep contained even.
Yeah.
On plays. That was shocking.
That is really stunning. You really don't typically see that from this group. The other thing I guess I would follow up on, it's not even just going to more man, which we bring up a lot because I would like to see some more of it, but also play zone better. They don't really know, you're allowed to play zone. Plenty of teams play zone. They just play it a lot better than Florida State does because they actually collapse on receivers who enter the zone. You're not covering a swath of grass. There are people. Go to them when they enter the zone and stay with them.
I feel like they almost play a zone like the Syracuse basketball team. Like, this is my area. And, okay, if he catches it 4 yards behind the three-point line, I'm just going to stand here and let him do what he wants. They don't attack anything, ever. They don't react until the catch is already made.
No, it's awful. Let's get to the end of the game scenario. I actually have got no problem with the play call at the end of the game. The problem I have is that none of the other guys on the team seem to know it was coming or what to do. So that's a problem. You got to get that ironed out. If you're going to run that play, at least have it blocked up and have everybody on the same page. I don't have a problem with them not spiking. This, to me, wasn't the same as the mistake with clock management with Willie with the punt in the Louisiana-Monroe game. It wasn't the same as stuff we saw in the Boise State game. This is just overall disorganization that is emblematic of problems they have through all 4 quarters. It shows up at the end because they're disorganized, but it shows up in the third quarter, in the second quarter. You don't remember it as much. It's not as indelible because it's not when the game is on the line in the final seconds.
But Jeff, when the game is on the line, I don't have a problem with the call necessarily, but when the game is on the line, when have they ever been organized?
Oh no, it's
going back to last season, every time the game is on the line, there's guys or some linemen are pass blocking, some are pulling.
No, that's
you got wide receivers.
With you.
But I mean, it's happened time and time again. So spike the ball, and there's other scenarios. There's this year, season 2, call the timeout, get them set, say, this is your assignment, settle down, we got this, here's the play, we've done it in practice, let's go out and do it. They're not doing that. Know your weaknesses. Don't go in there and just say, well, we're an up-tempo team. We're going to try to catch them off guard. All you're doing is catching your offense off guard when you do that.
Well, then coach it better because when they slow down, that's what we're imploring them to do because I don't think you want to give when you call timeout, you're also getting the defense time to get set up. And when the defense has time to set up, we don't succeed because our offensive line is horrific. So to me, I would argue that the only way you are succeeding is by running tempo because it mitigates the problems you have on the offensive line. It's just that, to your point, poor coaching during the week leads to this mismanagement at the end of games. Know what the hell you're going to run when you're going to run it. You can run fast, just execute.
I like to say, I came up with a saying that don't practice until you get it right. Practice till you can't get it wrong.
Man,
you know what I'm
should
saying?
share that with
I'm
coaches.
going to try. I'm going to
You
try.
know who would like that? Jimbo
The
Fisher
guy
would
named him?
like,
Probably.
yeah,
That sounds like something he'd say.
Yeah, he'd like that.
But yeah, I think my issue with the play in particular is it's a gimmick kind of trick play.
So
So
it's going to your best player.
So I guess, right, but the thought is no matter if they're ready or not, they're going to be confused and you're going to trick them, right?
Well, the idea is obviously
Right,
catch them
so
off
it's
guard.
not necessarily, hey, let's get up to the line real quick and let's just hand it off to them because they're not set. It's more of a trick play where I think he's probably going to even throw a pass off it, or if it's a run-pass option.
Yeah.
When it's something you haven't run all season, you might do it in practice, but you haven't run it once all season. Yeah, maybe they don't do it in practice. Yeah. I would have liked to have maybe got a reset there. At the same time, were they gonna go for 2? I'd have been interested in that because do you go for overtime? Because you're not going to stop them in overtime. Maybe the kid misses the extra point again. Maybe they win that way. I get it. You want to score there. It didn't work out well. The biggest problem is if your offense isn't ready to run that play, then you made a mistake somewhere along the way.
We're getting into execution and poor coaching that leads to these problems in games. That's really what we're saying here.
Yeah.
Whether you want to quibble about whether it's an end-of-game scenario, or not, to me it's just that they weren't ready to run the play.
Why didn't they do the play where McKitty lines up backwards?
Well, they got 11 yards on that play.
Gets 11 yards of puck. We haven't seen that again.
Next up, obviously, is Louisville. And Florida State is favored in this football game, and by rights should win this game because this is a Louisville team that was an absolute disaster last year. You thought we were bad. That team was in horrific shape, and they're going through the process of transitioning as well. We'll talk about that team when we come back on the Warchant.com report.
Did you hear that? That is the sound of Florida State football. Be ready, Noles. You bleed it, now own it. Check out Tallahassee's #1 store for FSU gear, Garnet and Gold. Locally owned for over 40 years, turn to their team to bring you the finest selection of spirited apparel and merchandise for every fan. They're always happy to see you and always happy to serve you. Visit their flagship store at 1504 Governor Square Boulevard, the campus shop over on West Pensacola, or if you're on the north side of town at 1400 Village Square Boulevard, and always on the web at garnetandgold.com. Garnet and Gold, a Tallahassee tradition you can depend on. If you're a Seminole, they're your store. Go Noles!
Welcome back to the Warchant.com report. As always, for the best information and where to go to watch games, go to the Warchant.com game day page for all the game watching locations throughout the United States. Obviously, FSU and Louisville. Louisville's 2-1. They've beaten Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky up until this point. And listen, Scott Satterfield comes in, good coach. You guys talked to him, I believe, at the ACC meetings in Charlotte, right? Yeah, I was there. Sitting right next to you. I don't even know where. No, but Charlotte. Yeah. You guys came away impressed, right? I think with him. Yeah,
I liked him a lot. He was a down-to-earth guy, kind of folksy, seemed genuine. It was good to see. Probably a nice change of pace from the guy they had before him.
A little different.
Yeah.
And so he's got a project on his hands, just like Willie Taggart does, in reforming what his team does. They want to run the football. They want to run outside zone. They want to do a lot of those things. You have some of the numbers about them. But let's talk a little bit about what they do on the whole. I can tell you what we saw Jimbo Fisher run the outside zone forever at Florida State. I love that if you can execute it.
Yeah, so far they've been able to do it. And that's one thing about Satterfield did at App State. He does it here. He's all about throwing. Petrino, they were more of a pass-first team. Now they're a run-first team, no doubt about it. They're running the ball almost 70% of the time so far. And they've been pretty good at it. They ranked 17 in the country. But, Jeff, I know you brought up a couple of those. I guess they couldn't play Central Kentucky yet. I guess they're next up on the schedule. Right. They've kind of beat up on the directional in-state schools. But they did play Notre Dame the first game. Now, it is the first game, so it's a little odd, but they ran for 122 yards against Notre Dame. So not a bad outing there for them. Javian Hawkins is their main guy. He's averaging about 6 yards a carry, so he's been pretty solid so far. But really, it's those quarterbacks, too. It's, again, dual-threat quarterbacks. We're not sure who's going to start, whether it's going to be the pass kid who we saw can't really pass, which is an odd name for a quarterback that can't pass too well. And then Malik Cunningham started last week when he was hurt. So either of those two guys could start. They're both very similar guys, very average passers, very good runners. The quarterback position gets about 60 yards of those rushing totals a game. So really they're going to look to establish a run with that outside zone all day long.
Well, and the problem with that is for a defense, you've got to remain really disciplined. Corey, you may not know this. Your Falcons like to run it almost exclusively. And it really frustrates me. You bring it up sometimes via text, I know. But one of the things is those linemen, they will step, they will seal. You get the crash down block from the outside receiver, and it creates a lane. It requires patience. We saw it a lot at Florida State. We ran it a lot. Devontae Freeman ran it exceptionally well for Jimbo Fisher. He loved those patient plays, you know. So I don't know, are we disciplined enough to keep the outside shoulder free and contain here and then allow everybody to fill and do their jobs? We'll see. That's a stressful situation for a defense. If they're executing it to a great degree, it could be difficult for Florida State
Well, and
here.
you need linebackers to come up and make plays.
That's correct.
In any defense, honestly, but especially when you're facing something like that, they need to flow and they need to go make plays. I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of that out of this linebacking group. I haven't seen
You're questioning the ability to do that?
Questioning a little bit about how good they're going to be with that.
Florida State is taking on a series of spread teams, and now with the loss of Joshua Kando, their pass rush is going to get worse, but some things to look at here. They're going to be in a lot of nickel and a lot of dime, Florida State will be. So you may be helped out. You may get a certain linebacker off the field a little bit more because you don't have to have as many linebackers
Any
on the
names,
field.
Or you just
a certain guy that I think everybody
with
maybe
a single
would like to
digit.
Perhaps see him play less.
Okay.
That actually may be required simply because of scheme over the next 4 to 5 weeks. So, hey, what can we do? You got to have to sit, young man. What do you want me to do?
Hey, they're
a spread team.
Their offense dictates that you have to be down, not the wrenching of the helmet.
On the
their offense.
On the other side of the ball, Louisville was one of the worst defensive teams in the nation a year ago. We all saw that on a weekly basis. Now it's 2 games, or really 3 games, but in their 2 wins against lesser-tier opponents, it is hard to get a read, but they played pretty well against Notre Dame, too. And they have now vaulted statistically into a, top 30 position. I don't think they'll end the season that way. I think they're lacking in personnel to some degree, but they have drastically improved from where they were a year ago.
Yeah, they got Brian Brown came over with Satterfield from App State. He's done a really good job with them so far. But you're right, they haven't played a whole lot of players, a whole lot of competition so far. They do have most of I think they got 9 or 10 starters back from last season, which you said. I think they were last in the ACC, 110 in the country in total defense. They were actually worse than Florida State defensively last year, which is hard to believe that they were that bad. But so far, they've been pretty good. Got to keep your eye on Rajay Burns. This is their leading tackler. He was a linebacker. He's got the most tackles for loss. It's the most sacks. He checks in a whopping 197 pounds, but he's a guy that just flies all over the place.
God, what for if you're out there at 197 pounds doing all that? You've got some moxie to you. You know, ultimately, I feel like this when we do this show and we have these greater discussions about whether a team's philosophy is X or Y. The truth is, it's just more about Florida State executing, because each week, and we saw it in the Virginia game, Florida State has better players than Virginia. It was evident. Florida State has better players than Louisville. It will be obvious as well when you see this game. The question is whether or not you get the players that are better than your opponents in a position to succeed and routinely execute what you're trying to get done. They took a step forward last week. It wasn't a huge step forward defensively. Do you think we'll see it again? And I guess let's get into the keys of the game here, guys. Give me a key and what you expect to see from this defense as they try to grow.
Should I give you 3 keys or just 1 key?
You can give me 4 keys if you're feeling
it.
I'll just give 2. I'll just give 2.
But I'll just sit here.
He'll sit back. Yeah.
Because Ira only gives 3, right?
Yeah, usually
so
only 3.
I need to bump it up to 4 so I get invited back.
Could you think of 4?
I mean, no, probably not. I think my first key, and we've already talked about it, but just play a pass defense that's not inexplicable. That's just not an inexplicably bad pass defense. Try to make it hard on them. The guy can't
take away something.
Take away something. When you have a quarterback that's not very talented with his arm, which neither one of these kids is for Louisville, just like Virginia's quarterback is a nice player, nice college player.
He can buy time.
He's not. He's not Tom Brady by
any
stretch of the imagination.
I can tell you that. No.
Make the windows a little tight. Try to make it hard on them. Don't just give them a.
How about you see if you can beat you down the field before you concede everything underneath? I mean,
just once. So that's the number 1 key for me, is to just play a pass defense. I think you'll do okay in the run. I really do.
Okay.
I think you maybe found a little bit.
I'm not so sure about that.
I'm not either. I'm just trying to be positive. But play a pass defense. It's not inexplicable. Number 2, go fast on offense. I know there's a lot of talk about time of possession and slowing it down.
That, yeah.
The defense that doesn't do itself any favors because it can't get off the field. Whether Kendall Briles calls 9 plays in 2 minutes or 5 plays in 2 minutes. If the defense can't get off the field, it does not matter. So you have to do what you do and stay to your convictions and be convinced this is the right thing to do. And then also give the ball to Cam Akers a lot. He's your best player on offense. He's really good. I thought they went away from him a little bit too much for my taste in that game. I thought in the third quarter he ran really well and really hard. He's just a really good football player. Now, they didn't have the ball much in the fourth quarter.
They didn't have the ball much there in that fourth quarter. I think it was 3 drives. So
yeah.
Kind of tough to get him the ball out when you don't have the ball because you can't get off the field, as we were just discussing.
Exactly right.
Very, very frustrating. You want to throw in some keys? Where do you feel that?
Let me pull this out here. Do the Captain Obvious hat here.
All right.
Yep.
You got props.
When you get the lead, you're going to have the lead in the game. Put your foot to the pedal and be done. Just put them away. It's going to be in the third quarter. They're going to be up by a couple touchdowns. Don't fall asleep at the wheel.
All right.
Get it done. Put them out of their misery, and then just coast to victory. Wear your captain's hat and coast to it.
I like it. I also would suggest that I got no problem with the pace of play here. The defense can't get off the field. They allow a 9-play drive, a 9-play drive, an 11-play drive, an 11-play drive. That's not on Kendall Briles. That is on the defense not getting off the field. That's on Harlan Barnett and his coaching staff doing a poor job as usual. That is very, very, very frustrating. Take more chances. I've said this since game 1 because here's the deal. If you get beat on that, you get beaten 1 or 2 plays and your defense is back out. Your offense is back out there, which is the strength of your team. Don't die by 1,000 paper cuts. Stop doing that with that soft zone. It drives me nuts. It's really the only thing I want to see in this game. I'm worried with all the outside zone that Louisville's going to run that we aren't disciplined enough to do play assignment sound football.
And does that marginalize what Marvin Wilson can do, too, when they're running outside? That kind of takes him maybe a little bit out of the game plan and what Florida State's trying to do.
All right, so we have the talk when we get back about the significance of this game, and I think it is actually pretty doggone significant, I could say. I almost said something else. That would have been good. Had to edit that one. That would have been a problem. And then our weekly picks, where yours truly is struggling a little bit. Corey hasn't had to make any picks.
Can't wait for this, man. I'm undefeated.
He's chomping at the bit. We'll do that all next on the Warchant.com report.
Make it simple, Seminole fans. Subscribe to the Warchant.com YouTube channel for instant access to unbeatable analysis. We're talking 50 years of combined experience covering Florida State athletics, unmatched digital storytelling, including exclusive access with the recruits you need to know, and your daily dose of all things garnet and gold with Wake Up Warchant. That's only the tip of the spear. The Warchant.com message boards continue to be the most active and passionate community of Seminole fans anywhere and feature insider information you won't find anywhere else. Use the promo code WARCHANT30 for a free 30-day trial to see why Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Welcome back to the Warchant.com report, brought to you by First Commerce Financial. If you're looking to purchase or refinance a home and want to secure the best possible rate, all while saving money without sacrificing service, give First Commerce Financial a call today at 248-207-2404 or visit firstcommercefinancial.com. Mention you heard them here on the Warchant.com report. Welcome back to the Warchant.com report, brought to you by our friends at First Commerce Financial. The significance of this game, I don't think, can be understated as it pertains to hope moving forward that they can right the ship. They've got an opportunity now. They're 1-2, 0-1 in the ACC. You could get right, get to 500, 2-2, 1-1 in the ACC. Really, I think if we're being objective about this, the goal here is to try to get bowl eligible. This game would go an awful long way in helping you, at least sustain hope that that's possible. Also, again, you're at home against the team you're favored to beat, who's also going through a profound transition. There's no other way to say it. I mean, that thing was left in complete disarray. Mm-hmm. If that coach is able to turn around his kids that much quicker than your coach in 4 games and come into your stadium as a decided underdog and win that game, that would not speak kindly to Willie Taggart and his staff and where they're at currently. Not a lot does right now, but that certainly would probably push those teetering on the edge over it at this point. So I think this is a very significant game for Coach Taggart.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think you got a little bit of a reprieve last week. We talked on the show a week ago about getting that kind of quality loss. I guess for all intents and purposes, that's a quality loss. I mean, you were controlled most of the game. You had a real good shot to win it against a ranked team. Virginia's not great, but they're a quality opponent. At least you held your own. You fought back a little bit. The players didn't quit. But yeah, you lose this one at home, Jeff, you just went through everything. There's nothing good. There's no quality loss here. You lose in any way, shape, or form, it's awful because you're 1-3 overall, almost 0-4. If you talk about the Louisiana Monroe game, you're going to be 0-2 in conference. You probably would have played the worst in-conference opponent you're going to face this season at home. If you do that, you're probably not going to a bowl. You're going to second straight losing season. That is a big indictment on this program and Willie Taggart.
Yeah, and I would say, too, people are holding out hope that they saw the progress of the Virginia game, and they believe now that, okay, if you're going to continue to see improvement, I have a reason to invest moving forward. If you lose this game, not only do you no longer see those fans willing to invest moving forward, but you got to begin to question, because they haven't quit yet, but players might quit if you lose at home to Louisville.
That's why I do think this game is really big. I thought last week, I wrote about it, how I thought it was the biggest game of the Taggart tenure, because I thought, I expected them to get blown out. And I thought that would just be that would be the referendum. Mm-hmm. That would show us everything we need to know. They didn't. They played hard. I thought a win would be huge. Obviously, they didn't get that either. The one mystery, and I thought they could propel off a win, but the one mystery that I wasn't sure how they'd respond to is a close loss. This team's a fragile team, man. I don't know how well they handle a close loss. They didn't handle the close loss to Boise very well, because the next week they're in a dogfight in the fourth quarter against the Sun Belt team. So how are they going to handle that close loss? Yeah, there's stuff to build on, but is this team capable of building on it? If they do, if they come out and play well and win by a couple scores, yeah, you can see a path to bowl eligibility.
Sure.
If you lose this game, I don't see a path to 3 wins. Legitimately, I don't see a path to 3 wins if you lose at home to probably the worst team left on your schedule, not named Alabama State. Whoa. It's a real big game for fans and for players, because if they lose to Louisville, who was, like you said, a worse situation, a much worse situation.
Yeah.
If you lose to Louisville in Willie Taggart's 17th or 18th game, I mean, man, that's how do forget about the fans and forget about us. How do the players buy into what's going on after that?
Yeah, there's only so many times you can reference the mess that he inherited. It does count. It does matter. It's not an excuse. It's a thing that exists, and it has caused problems. But at some point, you're tasked with the responsibility of starting to get that turned around. Mm-hmm. And if you lose at home to Louisville, and this other guy's 4th game with that program, well, no, sorry, you're not showing me any signs that you can get that done at this point. And I think people would be bereft of hope. Time for the picks, where I went below 500 yet again last week. Always fun making picks.
Well below 500, I'd say, but whatever.
Yeah, that's up for debate. Right. Hey, listen, it's not like Gene went out and had a big week. Ira was 500. Let's go. Yeah, you didn't have to pick a game. Let's look at the juggernaut that Florida State hopes someday to be. UCF favored big against Pitt. minus 13.5. I'm giving those points all day long. I don't know how those Pitt players can believe in their coach. He's a coward. Give me UCF minus 13.5.
Man, a home underdog getting that amount of points, and maybe Pitt takes something from that
solace?
field goal.
They take solace from the
that
field goal at the 1
if
yard
they make
line.
that field goal from the 1 yard line, the whole game changes. The whole game changes.
Timidity, my friend.
So,
no, sir.
it was a disaster. I don't want to pick Pitt because I can't believe I watched that. That was just the most cowardly thing a football coach might have ever done.
Hence I said
in
it.
a football game. But I'm still going to take Pitt plus getting the points.
13.5 is what you're getting, and you're going to lose by 40. Give me UCF.
Yeah, I did it last week. I think didn't you pick against me? I went with UCF last week.
I went
Jeff.
with UCF against Stanford.
Oh, then you should have covered that game.
Well,
okay.
I
didn't think you did. Well, check the tape on that.
I
didn't think you did that.
I don't know,
But I did that one.
I could be lying.
I thought UCF was going
In
to win
my
that
other
game.
pools, I took UCF.
And they did. I think especially when they play these FBS teams, they got a chip on their shoulder and they want to go out and Power 5 teams, they want to go out and prove themselves. So, yeah, this is another opportunity there for them to get some bad Pittsburgh teams. So, yeah, go ahead and give me that.
Boat race. Corey's going to start 0-1. Michigan's at Wisconsin. Michigan still doesn't look to be too terribly well coached. I'm not in love with Wisconsin. Give me the Badgers minus 3, though. I think the Michigan offense is yet to take hold. I'll take Wisconsin at home.
I like Michigan on the road. I do. I don't think Wisconsin's very good.
I don't think Michigan's very good.
Is the Patterson kid playing? He plays, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know if he got benched
good.
or not. He's great. The Heisman run starts. The Heisman run starts in Madison.
It's the 3. I understand why you take the 3. It's an iffy game between two pretty bad teams.
I like cheese. I like beer. Give me Wisconsin.
All right,
Good
I
enough.
like that. There you go. Okay, so Tennessee hasn't been good in over 20 years. They're still not good, but now Florida's without Felipe Franks. The thing is, I think Florida got helped out by Felipe Franks' injury. He's not any good. So this is interesting to me. I'm at war with this game. I'll take Tennessee plus 14.
I'm with you. I'd be happy if it was under 14 on that too. But Tennessee is a whole level of awfulness. Florida's an above average team. They're okay, but Tennessee's so awful. So yeah, go ahead. I'm with you, Jeff. I hate it, but I could take the Gators.
Well, I'm not. You're not with me. I took Tennessee.
Oh, you did?
I took Tennessee plus 14.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Well,
okay.
let's clarify.
No,
I've got the
I'll
Volunteers. Let's go,
They're
Volunteer
awful.
Navy.
Nope, can't do it.
I'm taking Tennessee too. I think this could be like their Virginia game.
They're right in it.
Their
They're
last
right in
stand.
it. They
We're going to
lose.
play hard. They're going to lose.
They're going to lose.
I hate being the only one taking Florida. I don't think that's ever happened on the show.
No, well, back when it was Urban Meyer, you never did, even when they were on their way to a national championship. It's great. Auburn at Texas A&M. This is a 4-point spread in favor of A&M. Early in the week here, I feel like I'm going to go with Auburn plus 4 in a close game.
Yeah, I wish that line were 3. I'm going to go with Jimbo here. They're back home. They want to bounce back. They didn't play well the last time they had a big game, so I'm going to go ahead and take them. Okay. He's got to win this.
Yeah, I like Jimbo at home.
I like him to win the game. I just don't think they're going to do it by 4. I think they win by a field goal. I'll take Auburn.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Kelly Mond's not real accurate.
Yeah, no, he was not. He certainly was not against the Clemson defense. He crushed Lamar, though.
He does. He does that very well. Notre Dame's at Georgia. Here we go, Corey. Give me the Dogs between the hedges by 24. 14 is the spread, but I like Georgia big. They boat race this Notre Dame team who lacks skill.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. I don't
You're
trust.
a pessimist.
Yeah, I am.
I
think Georgia's going to struggle to score a lot of points.
Do you really?
And I think it'll be like a 20-10 or a 27-17 type game. I expect Georgia to win, but I think Notre Dame's good enough to keep it close.
All right, there you go.
I'm with Corey on this one. I do think they're going to keep it close enough. I would never bet this again. We always say that in real life.
In real life, I'm not touching the game.
I don't like this, but if I think Notre Dame will play. They're well enough to at least keep it close. And Georgia definitely wins the game.
Which of these games in your real life would you bet? The
The
UCF Pitt game?
The UCF Pitt game, I'm going to bet. Yeah,
you're going to lose some money because Narduzzi's got those boys fired up.
They're inspired by
the way he coaches.
Good job, Aslan, for Corey.
Wait,
there's
one other game.
Sorry, I interrupted you. That's my fault.
But I also
just
these days I'm trying to get on.
Game's so irrelevant. We're not even going to talk about it.
I'll get to thank Aslan more than once. Then that's always good. All right, so I last week what did I do? Did I not take us? Oh, it would have been a push right at the line?
No, it was you just missed it. Yeah, they did not.
Okay. Louisville, we're giving 8? 8, geez.
Yeah. I think the line may have dropped, but when I first did this, I think it's down to 7 now. So who knows what the line's going to be when they watch this show. But we're going to go with 8.
I'm going to take Louisville then. I'll take Louisville plus 8. Florida State in a nail-biter.
Florida State's 2-6 in the last 8 games. Both of those wins was by a point.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm giving 8 to anybody.
Hard to give anybody 8.
Child's High School could be at Doak Campbell Stadium, and I'm not giving 8.
Well, because the fourth quarter exists.
It does happen. It does happen. So I'm taking Louisville.
Florida State wins by 7.
Oh, there we go. So we all took Louisville in the points. For Aslan, yet again, and Corey and Gene, I'm Jeff. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on the Warchant.com Report.